Will the House and Senate be ready to debate a multi-year transportation bill by the end of July? It's time for another episode of Bells and Whistles. Hello everyone, Bill Wilson, Editor-in-Chief of Railway Track and Structures magazine, with a look at the top stories we were following the week ending June 18th. Cow Creek in the city of Hutchinson, Kansas, is in need of being milked, but railroad companies need to cooperate first. The creek is susceptible to flooding, and in order to ease the tension, a number of railroad bridges need to be either rebuilt or removed. Officials have reached out to Union Pacific, BNSF, K&O Railroad, and VNS Railway, but so far only the shortline companies appear willing to help in the short term. The creek channel between D and G avenues is the trouble spot, and the city acquired the final section of land to help put the project in motion. However, the real bottleneck is outside of the construction zone, where three bridges within 750 feet of each other are not letting the water flow freely. Both the House and Senate agree that more federal funding needs to be devoted to high-speed rail in the next long-term infrastructure bill. The House, however, wants to keep funding exclusive, which is bad news for private clubs. The Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee followed the lead by the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee by setting aside billions of dollars for high-speed rail projects in the Senate's long-term infrastructure bill. The Senate committee then took it one step further by allowing private campaigns to be eligible for federal funding. The House will now try to include an amendment in its bill that will allow the private benefit. The Senate Commerce Committee has advanced the Surface Transportation Investment Act, which dedicates $78 billion over 5 years for freight, rail safety programs, and trucking. The Senate is now tasked with merging the $78 billion into a much larger multi-year funding bill. A $313 billion measure was passed by the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee in May. Meanwhile, the House could be debating its 5-year, $547 billion transportation bill during the week of June 28th. Both chambers will break for recess at the end of July, but there is a possibility significant progress on a long-term transportation bill could be made by then. One of the nation's worst rail bottlenecks will be uncorked in the coming years. On June 18th, Amtrak and the state of Maryland announced that the 148-year-old Baltimore and Potomac Tunnel will be replaced in the next 10 years at a cost of $4 billion. The passenger carrier and Maryland will work together to execute the project, which currently has no funding source. Amtrak is in the process of finishing the design and purchasing sections of right-of-way. Officials are saying the tunnel will carry electric-powered trains. Amtrak wants to build single-track twin tunnels that would be constructed about a half-mile north of the existing tunnel. Well, that's a look at the news we were following the week ending June 18th. For the latest news, go to www.rtnds.com. You can also find us on social media. We are on Facebook and Twitter. Have a great weekend, everyone.